Hello, everybody. Welcome. Please note that this webinar will be recorded, so please make sure to keep your microphone unmuted. Throughout the presentation, you may type questions using the Q&A option at the bottom or the top of your screen. It could be somewhere in the Teams. The slides and recorded of the webinar will be posted on the NIFA funding opportunity page, so please make sure to access it. To access the caption service, click on the CSEEK icon on the bottom of the screen. And the funding opportunity page will be posted and is available as well. You can Google it and find it. So welcome to the Food Safety Outreach Program, Fiscal Year 2026 NIFA Technical Assistant Webinar. My name is Pascal Jean, and I'm the National Program Leader in the Division of Nutrition within the Institute of Food Safety and Nutrition at the National Institute of Food and Agriculture, or NIFA, at USDA. Next slide, please. Now that I introduced myself, I would like the team to come off mute and introduce themselves. First, I'll let Dr. Junior Jean-Gilles, Jean-Gilles, introduce herself.
Greeting everyone. Thank you for being part of the webinar today. And my name is Junia Jean-Gilles Beaubrun, and I am the secondary on the FSOP program, helping Dr. Jean manage the program, and happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Sarah?
Hi, I'm Sarah Medley, and I'll be the program specialist for this program with my colleagues Ryan and Candace.
Thank you. Ryan?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ryan Cornegay, program specialist working with the FSOP program. Excited to share with you all today.
Thank you. Last but not least, Candace, if you could just come off mute and say hi.
It's a pleasure.
Yes, everybody. I'm the program specialist here for the FSOP team, and nice to meet you guys.
Thank you all. Next slide. So during today's webinar, we will cover the following topics. First, we will provide overview of NIFA. Then we will provide an overview of the program, application details, application evaluation process, tips for success, and additional resources. Next slide and next slide. So what is NIFA? NIFA is a National Institute of Food and Agriculture. It is the extramural science funding agency within USDA Research, Education, and Economics mission area. This means, as an agency, we are the lead federal agency that provides extramural funding for food and agriculture sciences. NIFA was created through the Food Conservation and Energy Act of 2008, and we invest in the support initiative that ensure the long-term viability of agriculture. In addition, NIFA provides funding and strategic leadership for programs that ensure groundbreaking discoveries in agriculture-related sciences and technology. Next slide. Before we dive into the program overview, I would like to remind everyone that all interest applicants should read the Notice of Funding Opportunity, or NOFO. This webinar shares the core information in the NOFO, but there is no substitute for the NOFO itself. The NOFO should be considered the primary reference document for this funding opportunity, and applicants should ensure they have carefully read the NOFO before beginning an application. With that established, let's begin with a quick look into the program overview. Next slide. In fiscal year 2026, FSOP will continue supporting training, education, outreach, and coordination to 3 new solicitations across the project types. Community food projects for awards amount between $80,000 and $150,000 for a duration of 24 months. Collaborative education and training projects for an amount between $200,000 and $400,000 during a duration of 36 months. Applicants may also request an additional $150,000 for collaborative engagement supplements. And finally, the technical assistance grant writing skill project with an amount of $75,000 to $150,000 for a duration of 36 months. Next slide, please. First, the Community Outreach Project. These projects fund the creation and expansion of food safety education and outreach programs within local communities. Project aim to build local capacity by helping groups identify their community-specific food safety needs and deliver customized education and outreach. Funding can support the development and expansion of FSMA-aligned training, ensure programs are consistent with the updated FSMA rules, and tailored for broader and emerging audiences. Expansion-focused projects help programs reach more participants, focus on technical assistance, and extend effort to new audiences, including those involved in agriculture production and processing system. Next slide. This is the technical assistance program. I'm just going to focus on a purpose and priority. These projects focus on building and improving grant writing skills and providing resources for organizations that support new applicants, community-based organizations, and institutions serving non-traditional, niche, or hard-to-reach audiences. Projects must collaborate closely with regional centers to ensure that wide regional coverage, including coordinating workshops, sharing sessions, and using center website portal and social media to distribute toolkits, webinars, and other resources. The grant writing tools and resources developed are intended to increase the number of successful FSOP applicants from organizations involved in food safety and education training. Next slide. The purpose of the Collaborative Education and Training Program is to support the expansion of well-established local food safety education program into multi-county, statewide, or multi-state initiatives. These large projects encourage cross-state collaboration, including among states outside the same region when they share common food safety concerns or work with the similar commodities. Applicants must demonstrate a strong track record working with farmers and the capacity to develop and adapt food safety training curricula to align with updated FSMA requirements across agriculture production and processing systems. Next slide. Last but not least, the collaborative engagement supplements. As we mentioned earlier, there's an opportunity to ask for extra funds. This is provided as an additional funding for the community outreach, collaborative education training, and the technical assistance. The project must demonstrate significant collaboration amongst eligible institutions, which are listed here. Significant collaboration refers to partnership that strategically align around a shared goal and appropriately share resources and responsibility. Project meeting this criteria may receive an extra $150,000 beyond the base award. So the maximum for each level for community outreach, as we mentioned, it goes up to $150,000, but with the additional $150,000, it will be $300,000. For the collaborative education, the training, the maximum is $400,000. With additional $150,000, it'll go up to $550,000. And for the technical assistant and grant writing skills, the top is $150,000. With additional $150,000, it will be $350,000. Eligibility. Eligible applicants include a range of organizations involved in food safety, education, community support, and they're all listed here. These are also listed in the NIFA. Please make sure to read it and review it. Next slide, please. I've got plenty of questions about this, and sorry for the confusion if this wasn't clear. But when it comes to application submission award limitation, there's a quick sentence here about duplication and multiple submission. Just want to clarify that NIFA policy allows an institution to submit more than one proposal in the same cycle only if each submission is distinct and non-overlapping projects. So while multi-unit proposal may be submitted, only one may be funded per institution in a given program cycle. Next slide. Indirect costs. Please note that indirect costs cannot exceed 30% of the total federal funds awarded, and any indirect cost amount above 30% cap on allowable and cannot be charged to the award. But definitely note that you will work with the if you are awarded, you work with the award management team to make sure that you meet the program goals. Last but not least, for me, when it comes to cost share matching, happy to report there's no matching requirement for any of the FSOP NOFOs. With that said, I will pass it to Ryan to go over application details and documents. Ryan?
Thank you so much, Dr. John. As we go on, we'll share a little bit of information on the details for the application and the documents required for it. So specifically, just to let you know about some of the changes from the previous NOFO or RFA, if you might be aware of it. This year, applications will be submitted through ERA. So please make sure you register as early as possible with ERA Commons, as it can take up to 2 weeks for that to process through. So as we go through some of the application details, the notice of funding opportunities are available, of course, on our NIFA website. You'll be able to find the link here in this slide. Application deadline for this program is going to be on July 20th, 26th at 5:00 p.m. And we are asking that you please submit this through ERA Assist, and ERA Assist is the recommended route other than grants.gov to ensure that you avoid any application errors. The total funding available for FY 2026 for the community outreach projects is $3.5 million, $5.8 million for the collaborative education and training projects, and $300,000 for the technical assistance grant writing skills projects. The program code for the food safety outreach program is FA4182. And as we talk about the maximum award amounts, you will see these levels are including the collaborative engagement supplement for $150,000. So you'll see for the community outreach program projects and the technical assistance grant writing skill projects, those maximum award amounts are up to $300,000, and the collaborative education and training projects are up to $550,000. There are no restrictions on the number of applications per institution. However, project directors are limited to only submitting one application. Next slide, please. So now we'll share a quick information about the key documents for this application. That includes, of course, our project summary or abstract, the project narrative, bibliography and reference lists, data management plan, the budget and budget justification, personnel, logic model, and other documents. You can see that information in the NIFA grants application guide. And just to give a little bit of information, the NOFO, as you look through it, incorrectly includes the data management plan and the logic model under field 8. These can be added in field 12 under add other attachments. Next slide, please. Moving further, as we talk about key documents specifically for the community outreach and technical assistance grant writing skills projects, both of those applications have a narrative page limit of up to 10 pages, which will be strictly enforced. 1.5 spacing for your wording and 12-point Times New Roman font is required. Figures and tables should be no smaller than 11-point Times New Roman font, and they may be single space. Within those 10 pages, we are asking that you describe an introduction, rationale and significance, objectives, an approach, and your project timeline. Next slide, please. Then moving on to the collaborative education and training projects, what is needed for this application specifically, the narrative has a 20-page limit, which will also be strictly enforced with 1.5 spacing, 12-point Times New Roman font. Now again, here, figures and tables should be no smaller than 11-point Times New Roman font, and they also may be single spaced. Within those 20 pages, we're asking that you please share an introduction, rationale and significance, objectives, approach, and a project timeline. Now to share about the data management plan. As an investigator, you must provide a detailed up to 2-page business and management plans, including expected data type, data format, data storage and preservation, data sharing, protection, and public access, and the roles and responsibilities of those who will be managing the data. You can find more information specifically about the data management plan in this link here once you receive the slides. And moving on to the application submission, NIFA does only accept electronic submissions of applications, so we're asking that you please put all of your documents in PDF format so that we can make sure that we're able to receive it properly here at NIFA. And moving on, we'll go now into our application evaluation process. So the evaluation process for our NIFA programs, and specifically our FSOP here, applications are going to be assigned for review to at least 3 reviewers with expertise in the proposed topic that you are sharing here. Reviewers will be produce individual reviews of each application and evaluate the strengths and weaknesses of those proposals. Then the written reviews will be used to begin panel discussions with other reviewers serving on a peer review panel. And then lastly, through the discussions from the peer review panels comes a consensus and final rating and ranking of the applications. And that is how these applications are evaluated. Furthermore, I want to share a bit of the evaluation criteria. This is a bit of a change that you may seem different this year as we are moving to the ERA system. So specifically, we'll start with the community outreach projects evaluation criteria. Number 1 would be the objectives. This has a maximum point of 25 for your evaluation. And the objectives, we're asking that you please use it to assess how well community outreach projects are identifying and looking at specific food safety education and training needs and other resources within communities, how also they support the establishment, development, growth, and or expansion of new or already existing food safety education and training programs within communities, and ensure that they are consistent with new FSMA guidelines, as well as leveraging partnerships with non-governmental organizations, community-based organizations, extension, food hubs, farm cooperatives, and or others who typically work with owners and operators of small and or medium-sized farms or beginning farmers. And also previously funded community or pilot projects should identify significant outcomes and the impacts of the successful project and include a strong justification and detailed plans for expansion to a larger audience. Moving on to evaluation criteria number 2, which has an opportunity for maximum points of 35. That will be focused on the methods. And this is looking at assessing procedures for modifying curricula to address target audiences, further developing and expanding already existing community-based food safety education and training programs and other resources. Programs may also expand to reach a greater number of participants and or to reach new audiences not currently targeted by the existing programs, and developing a communication plan for interacting with the respective regional centers and for reporting project outcomes to the regional centers, as well as developing a plan for evaluating outcomes of the project, collecting outcome data, and reporting project outcomes to the respective regional centers. Moving on to evaluation criteria number 3 with a maximum points of 25. This is focused on the key personnel and project management, and this is used as criterion to assess the management of the proposed project, including the roles and responsibilities of key project staff, including clearly defining the roles and responsibilities of key staff in the overall management of the project, developing a timeline that includes benchmarks for key events that address the project objectives, identifying key personnel responsible for collecting project outcome data, reporting project outcomes, and interacting with staff at the respective regional centers, developing strong partnerships with those local communities that enable them to address the needs of farmers, and lastly, coordinating food safety education and training efforts with local communities involved in the project. And last but not least, for the community outreach projects, evaluation criteria number 4, with a maximum points available of 15. Focus on the budget and budget justification. This will be used to assess how well the proposed budget supports project activities that are consistent with the proposed objectives and incorporates innovative approaches for making use of currently available resources within local communities while supporting the development and implementation of new resources critical for meeting the food safety education and training needs of farmers, and also allocating and justifying resources to key personnel responsible for managing and conducting the project activities. Now I'll move on to the evaluation criteria for the collaborative education and training projects. So for the evaluation criteria number 1, here is objectives with a maximum amount of points available of 25. Then this is used to assess how well the collaborative education and training projects support development of multi-county statewide or multi-state food safety, education, and outreach programs, and or other resources that are consistent with FSMA guidelines. Also, how it encourages the collaborations among counties and states sharing common food safety concerns, commodities, or production and processing practices. And lastly, leveraging partnerships with non-governmental organizations, community-based organizations, extension, food hubs, farm cooperatives, and or others who typically work with owner and operators of small and or medium-sized farms and beginning farmers, as well as processors. Next slide, please. Moving on to evaluation criteria number 2 for the collaborative education and training projects, which is focused on methods. And this is used to assess procedures for building and maintaining partnerships among collaborating counties and states that aren't necessarily located in the same region. For example, collaborative education and training projects would support collaborations between California and Florida. Developing a communications plan for interacting with respective regional centers and for reporting project outcomes to the regional centers. And lastly, developing a plan for evaluating the outcomes of the project, collecting outcome data, and reporting project outcomes to the respective regional centers. Both quantitative and qualitative measures may be used in this evaluation. Moving on to evaluation criteria number 2, criteria number 3 under collaborative education training projects, focus on key personnel and project management. And that's used to assess the management of proposed staff in this project, including the roles and responsibilities of the key project staff, including clearly defining the roles of the key staff in the overall management of the project, developing a timeline that includes benchmarks, identifying key personnel for collecting project outcome data, reporting outcomes, developing partnerships within the communities that enable them to address the needs of farmers, including the target audiences, and coordinating food safety education and training efforts with communities involved in the project. And then lastly, for the collaborative education and training projects, evaluation criteria number 4, with maximum points available 15, budget and budget justification, which is used to assess how well the proposed budget adequately supports project activities that are consistent with the proposed objectives, incorporating innovative approaches for making use of currently available resources within local communities while supporting development and implementation of new resources that are critical for meeting the food safety, education, and training needs of target audiences, and allocates and justifies resources to key personnel responsible for managing and conducting the project activities. And lastly, I'll go through the project evaluation criteria for the technical assistance grant writing projects. For evaluation criteria number 1, with maximum points available of 25, what we are focusing on objectives, which will assess how well technical assistance grant writing skills projects implement novel strategies for recruiting attendees and promoting grant writing skills, events, and resources to ensure potential participants are aware of the opportunities and tools to develop successful FSOP proposals. Also developing useful, creative, and grant writing skills, training opportunities and resources. And lastly, how they leverage partnerships with non-governmental organizations, community-based organizations, extension, food hubs, farm cooperatives, and or others who typically work with owners and operators of small and or medium-sized farms, beginner farmers, small processors, and small fresh fruit and vegetable merchant wholesalers. Evaluation criteria number 2 for our technical assistance grant writing skills projects is focused on methods with maximum points available of 35. This is used to assess procedures for establishing a broad outreach and communications plan for recruiting and promoting events and tools utilizing the FSOP regional centers, creating interactive curricula or resources to reach, support, and engage non-traditional grant writers, working closely with respective regional centers to report project outcomes, and lastly, developing a plan for evaluating the outcomes of the project, collecting outcome data, and reporting project outcomes to the respective regional centers. Moving on to evaluation criteria number 3 for technical assistance grant writing skill projects with maximum amount of points available of 25, key personnel and project management, which is focused on assessing the management of the proposed project, including roles and responsibilities of key project staff. And it includes clearly defining the roles and responsibilities of key staff and overall management of the project, developing a timeline that includes benchmarks for key events that address the project's and objectives, identifying key personnel responsible for collecting project outcome data, reporting project outcomes, and interacting with staff at respective regional centers. And last but not least, for all of our technical assistance grant writing skills projects, evaluation criteria number 4 with maximum points available of 15, the budget and budget justification. Focus on the criterion that is looking at assessing how well proposed budgets adequately support project activities that are consistent with proposed objectives, incorporate innovative approaches for making use of currently available resources within communities, while supporting the development and implementation of new resources that are critical for meeting the training needs of target audiences. And lastly, allocates and justifies resources to key personnel responsible for managing and conducting the project activities. Now, to share with you all some tips for success. So before you start your writing process, some of the things that you should consider is your topic appropriate for this program, or is there a better program that you should be applying to? We highly recommend not wasting time applying to the wrong program, as we want to make sure you are as successful as possible. You should also think about, are you eligible to apply for this program? Check the eligibility requirements that we've shared and that are in the NOFO as well. Do you understand the requirements from the NOFO? This kind of goes back to understanding how you were building your application, making sure that you understand the requirements that are in the NOFO to make sure you are successful at putting in a successful or competitive proposal. Are you familiar with the application review process? And we have shared that evaluation process here and the review process for you. And you can look in that information again when you receive these slides. And do you have all of the needed resources match? We don't have required matching here, but if you are looking for matching in another program, do you have qualified and/or experienced staff, partners, and stakeholders to manage the project? These are some of the main things that you need to keep in mind as you are thinking about applying for this program. And just a few tips: make sure you write clearly and logically. Organize your documents according to how the Notice of Funding Opportunity outlines it, as well as the evaluation criteria that we just shared through here. Make sure you prepare a budget with a strong justification so that people can understand exactly what you're proposing. Follow the guidelines from the Notice of Funding Opportunity and understand that they are judged on the degree of reasonableness that you share in your justification. Also, we want to share as a tip to obtain critical input from experienced and successful colleagues. That was always great to have great feedback before you submit a proposal. Make sure you fill out your forms completely and correctly, as this can cause significant issues for you, as well as us here at NIFA. We want to make sure that you are filling those forms out as correctly as possible, but also make sure you complete them as well. Make sure you use tables and figures that will also help you illustrate the important points that you are making in your proposal. And last but not least, make sure you write for both the expert and the novice so that it's clearly identifiable what you are proposing. Moving on to a planning checklist. Application writing, of course, as if you've ever written an application, is a complex process that involves several steps. Planning for the writing of an application needs a strategic approach. So just as we talk about a checklist, the planning checklist can help you identify and prioritize several steps like locating the appropriate program, assembling a team to do the proposed project, creating a timeline for your proposed project, completing all the required forms and registration, completing the required documents and editing and converting them to PDF. And last but not least, of course, submitting it on time. You do not want to miss the deadline, because if you submit at 5:01, 5:02, unfortunately, you will not be able to be reviewed. And then moving forward, if we talk about the document checklist, application packages may need several documents as mentioned in the Notice of Funding Opportunity. So please make sure you complete and have an accurate application package so that this will help reviewers in understanding what you are intending in the proposed project and its requirements. Also, creating a list of documents needed from the Notice of Funding Opportunity. As you go through the NOFO, make yourself a list of those things so that you can know what is required, and mark those documents complete as you move along in the development of your proposal. And last but not least, the checklist will also help you when you're submitting the documents in the system, so you can mark them off when you're done and make sure that you're not missing anything that is required for this program. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Sarah to share about ERA.
All right, hi all. I'm going to review a little bit of some tips about ERA. So this is the first year that this NOFO is in ERA. And so prior years, we just had one NOFO for all the different parts of the 3 different programs. And this year, you will see that they are 3 separate NOFOs with 3 separate places to go to read the document and apply to. So some new application processes that are important in ERA is step 1, you need to make sure you create an ERA Commons account. Register your organization as soon as possible, as it can take up to 2 weeks. When you register your organization, you need to designate a signing official and then roles for your PDs, co-PDs, and other co-PIs on the project. As a tip, you can serve as more than one role in your ERA Commons account, single ERA Commons account. So you can, for example, be the signatory signing official and a PD or PI, and you can also have multiple institution affiliations within your single ERA accounts. If you believe you already have a ERA account, you can go in and verify your account is active and correctly affiliated. If you previously had multiple accounts, you can also consolidate them into one account. Your second step after you've created your ERA Commons account is you can apply. And there are 2 routes to apply. You can apply regularly through grants.gov, or you can apply through Assist. The application process through grants.gov is pretty normal from previous years. You complete your application forms following NOFO instructions. You would enter your UEI, and then you want to make sure that that UEI matches your ERA Commons registration account. A second important step is if you're applying through grants.gov is that you enter your PD ERA Commons username in the credential field. You need to do this key step, otherwise we cannot match your application to your ERA profile when it goes to ERA. This failure, it will result in a failure of your app error. So please, if you use grants.gov, make sure that you enter your ERA Commons username in the credential field. And the other tip is if you use the ERA's Assist tool, it can help you prepare your application, automatically moves things from your ERA profile to the application, and it will also check for errors for you so that you don't have errors when you submit your application. Grants.gov will not flag this PDPI username error. ERA Assist will, or you can just remember that you need to do this step. And the last step for success in this application process is you can track in ERA Commons. When you log into ERA Commons, there's a status module and look for recent pending e-submissions. Confirm that you have an accession number assigned to your proposals. If you do not have that accession number, that means that there are errors that you need to fix and you need to resubmit. So if you're applying through grants.gov, that grants.gov confirmation is not the finish line. After submitting, you want to log into ERA Commons, check that recent pending e-submission, and look for an accession number. Then you will know that it was successfully received by ERA. Here's a quick handy ERA checklist to help you prepare for your submission. Before you submit, you want to confirm your organization is registered in ERA Commons, identify your signing official, and verify they have an active account. And ensure all active researchers have ERA Commons PD PI accounts. When you apply, you want to make sure that UEI on your SF424 matches the UEI you use to register your ERA Commons account. You want to make sure that the PD PI ERA Commons username is in the credential field before submitting your application. And a good tip is to submit early. So if there's an error, you can fix it within the deadline. After you've completed your submission, we highly recommend checking grants.gov for agency tracking number assigned and confirm that accession number in ERA has also been assigned. You can continue monitoring the status module as your application moves through review. If you have a resubmission for a proposal, this is a pilot year, so we do not have any of the historical NIFA grant data of a prior proposal. So you will still submit through grants.gov as a new proposal. You will include in your response the previous comments to your panel review like you would in a normal resubmission, but you will email us to let us know the new application title, new grant number, and the previous grant number, as you will not be able to submit it as a resubmission through grants.gov. And this is just another plug for preparing your application through ERA Assist. Assist is not required, so you can continue to use grants.gov if that is what you're comfortable with. However, Assist provides numerous features such as error checking to support application submission. To access ERA Assist, log in with your active ERA Commons credentials or visit the Assist tile in ERA Commons. With Assist, you could collaborate within your organization and delegate sections to people. It will pre-populate fields from your ERA Commons profile to save time, and then will also validate your application before you submit and catch any errors in advance. It will also allow you to preview the assembled application as reviewers will see it with auto-generated tables of content, headers, and page numbers. And just as a tip, Assist replaces the preparation step, not the submission step. Applications built in Assist are still submitted through grants.gov. And there's more resources on an Assist overview, as well as a user guide and step-by-step instructions within Assist. And you can always contact the ERA service desk if you run into any issues. And then I believe I'm going to turn it over to Pascal for some additional information.
Thank you very much. I know we provided you with a lot of information. I'm about to add some more to it. Next slide, please. One of the things you need to do, I know that we are switching to the ERA doing a pilot program, but to access any NIFA reporting portal, please make sure to go to the portal search. I always tell people to go see what was funded before, include the project detail, funding amounts, and recipient information. just look through the system to see what kind of project that's been funded before. Great way if it's the first time you're applying to see what type of program we're looking for. This is a very small and mighty community. You may even be able to reach out to them if you have their contact information and ask them some questions. Next slide. In addition, there's our resources. There are resources on the slide that can help you create successful applications and provide more detail and many of the topics we discussed today. Please note that all resources that NIFA provide, the NOFO is the most important resource out there, all the NOFOs, and should be considered the primary authority in this funding opportunity. Last but not least, highly recommend that you, instead of reaching out to our personal work email, please, I know the mailbox message is kind of weird, please reach out to the FSOP mailbox for any questions you have regarding any of the NFOs. I want to make sure that the team is around and somebody will get back to you as soon as possible regarding any question that you may have. Last but not least, this is a mandatory non-discrimination slide. Kind of indicates some of the important things when it comes to what we stand for, when it comes to discrimination authorities and things like that. Please feel free to reach out to it if you need additional information or to report any issue. With that said, we'll move to the questions. I know there are quite a few questions in the Q&A section, and for time purposes, I will probably read them and then try to see if we can answer as much as we can. Can you confirm key personnel from partner organization? Oh, let me go in the bottom. Sorry, from first question. Okay. Oh, there's a lot of questions. For the community-focused FSOP, do we need to include a mentoring plan or we need to include a key personnel? Mentoring plan are all not required, but if you are having a mentorship program, definitely submit a mentoring plan. So the way that these NOFOs are currently written, there's a lot of information that may not pertain to it. So, but if it applies to your program, please make sure to put it. We will need to include key personnel. If you do have a mentoring plan and you have people in your mentoring plan that are considered key personnel, please make sure to include them. Are the data management logic plan included in a part of the 10 pages? This is another question that we got multiple times. So one of the things I've been telling people when it comes to this, you can mention it in your narrative, kind of hinted at it, kind of give the information, but please make sure to include the logic model and the data management plan in the other section of your NOFO. As you know, and in your, when you submit the application, there's a section titled Other Attachments. So you can mention, probably give a summary, small sentence about it if you can, but definitely include the document itself in the other attachment section. If you need more clarification regarding this, feel free to email me. I mean, email the mailbox, not me, email the mailbox. What is the page limit for the logic model? Some of the NIFA limits it to 1 page, while others have allowed 2 pages. I think we do have a logic model template in the, let me see if I can find it. Anybody, Sarah or Ryan, can you guys keep me honest here?
It should be in the NIFA application guide, but I don't remember off the top of my head if it's 1 or 2 in the NIFA application guide.
Correct. I'll include the link here that you can review if you'll let me add the information. So the application not only have it, but we also have a process in a FAQ document. I can't remember if it's 1 or 2 pages, but it is clearly an application guide. Without partnering with HSI or Langred, what we're saying is the maximum budget 300. It depends on which grant you're applying for because there are 3 NOFOs. So some of them, the top is 150, and with additional, I mean, it's 150 with additional 150 if you're doing partnership, and some of them it's 400 with additional 150 if you're doing. So, Barbara, I don't know if you want to clarify which NOFO you're referring to, but definitely do that. Oh, sorry, I just noticed Sarah responded. All right, let me go to the question that we're not responding to. When you say regional center, are those the regional center, rural development centers, or you're their regional center NIFA? There are FSOPs, regional centers, specific.
I was actually just answering that one, Dr. John. I put a link in there.
Perfect. Thank you, Ryan. All right, since you guys are responding, you want to flag me which one I need to review with the group, or is it the next one?
No, you can just go to the next one. I'm just trying to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. The project narrative description in the NOFO identify the summary of previous work and response to previous review is required. Is this only if the applicant previously applied to FSA program? Yes, correct. As Sarah mentioned, because we're moving to ERA, usually when somebody is reapplying, was not funded, they could say they were submitted resubmission. So like we know to expect an additional page in the narrative and see comments. But in this case, because this is the first time we're ERA, as Sarah mentioned, that's not an option. Just go and submit a new grant. But you can respond to the project narrative or whatever information that were provided before as one page. So hopefully that clears it up, Aaron. Can you clarify where the key personnel project management section should be placed? In the ERA, there is a section for that. I'm gonna link the application guideline that really goes into some of these information. Please make sure to review it. And if you have any follow-up question, feel free to get back with us in the mailbox. Yes, the presentation is recorded and will be shared once it's made available. There's a couple of steps I need to go through before it goes, but will definitely be shared. But in the meantime, feel free to email it to us. We can probably easily share the slides, but the recording will be posted. When it comes to budget, I'm not sure which project you are referring to, but again, I'm going to post the NIFA application guideline. There are great resources there regarding the R&R document and also what information you'll be looking for. Not sure. We are looking to put in 50% into participant support costs. I'm not sure which program you're applying to. I'm assuming that should be good, but again, make sure that whatever you're proposing, that your budget aligns with your proposal and also aligns with the specific purpose and goals of that specific NOFO. Are all these extra steps meant to deter applicants? No, we are moving to a new system. It's everything new is stressful, but it's really to kind of move along and make sure that applicants have everything that they need. NIH has been using ERA forever. Our system's a little bit archaic, so we're moving it. So I'm adding the additional resources to help apply. Is there any way to register and defend for their ERA account while we wait for organization ERA? I'm not sure about that. I will follow up with the ERA team regarding that. But usually we want to make sure that the project director is the one that's applying. We want to make sure they're the one that's assigned to the proposal, because if somebody is registering, so they'll be they're the main person. They will be the one that is an applicant. But I will follow up on this question with the ERA team. If you will be so kind to follow up in an email in our mailbox, I'll make sure to respond to you since I don't have your email address. I am going to put our mailbox in the chat. So please, Barbara, send me an email. I think I answered the question regarding the data management plan. Oh, you're asking about project management. That's not data management plan. Again, I'm going to refer back to the NIFA guidelines that were recently updated that does address not only ERA, but a lot of the differentiation. The one thing I've been telling people, if you can mention it in the narrative, make sure it's tied to your program, but also you can also attach a attachment in other attachments section. So to Aaron about the question about which track to apply to, I think the major difference with both of them, depending on application, is basically experience. One of them is, I don't want to say small scale, but compared to the collaborative one, is more of a large scale, was multi-center, multi-state, multi-county, really large scale. So that's the way I see it. One of them may focus on one community, the other one is at a bigger scale. So feel free to reach out to us via email if you have any follow-up question, but it's really is how big your project proposal is and to see which one fits best your operation need. And also, what are you guys able to propose and submit? Any other questions?
So we can follow up. Karen has a question about key personnel needing to register an ERA, complete current and pending COI biosketches, then download them, email them to submitting org, and then upload back into ERA. And we can double check this with our ERA team, but I think that they shouldn't have to download and then re-upload. They should be able to link.
Correct.
But
we'll confirm.
We can confirm with our ERA team. But yes, they do need to have the COP, COI biosketches through ERA.
Yeah, and complete the science thing. All right, any more questions? Oh, wait, there are more.
And then I have another ERA related question, plain language, how ERA, Assist, and grants.gov work together. It sounds like we should use 3 systems: Assist to prepare, grants.gov to submit, and ERA to confirm submission. So my understanding is that I have not used Assist, but my understanding is that it's not like you have to go from, you can submit through Assist, but it's using grants.gov. But yes, in assessments, you are going to be using 3 systems. And then Pascal, we have a question about letters of support. Can letters of support from project partners be included anywhere with this application?
No, letters of support also go to the other attachment.
Yep. Field 12.
Yes.
And then Pascal, we have a question for non-universities. Is there an indirect percent that they are required to follow?
I think it's whatever you have worked out with the state, because I think everybody work out their plan. So let us know if you want to follow up with a question. I could definitely get more information. There's no direct one, but I think nothing can go over 30%. And for organization, if you have university as consultant, can you request the $150 extra? So please note that the additional funds is not just a consultant. It has to be a partnership with a university, and they have, and it's specific to what type of universities. So 1890, 1894, and things like that. And they have to have, it's like a partnership with a different university, not just a consultant fee. Please make sure to read the NOFO. It's very specific about how this, what the supplement can be used for. I think, James, you're following up regarding the community outreach grant and participants first cost question. Yeah, as long as I mentioned earlier, you are allowed to propose a budget, and as long as it matches your goals and objective, and it ties back to the NOFO, and it's clear and concise. If your plan is what it is, we'll go by it. I don't think we give strict guidelines on how it should be, but if you're it's viable, it's tied to your project, your goals and objective, and is like a better word, making sense for your proposed project, definitely you can go ahead and propose that.
And then the last question I have is for evaluation criteria 3, is the project narrative reviewed or only the key personnel forms?
Project narrative is definitely reviewed because that's basically the section of the application that tells us what you're proposing. And key personnel forms are additional forms to back up what you're saying. So if example in a narrative, you say you're working with somebody to do an evaluation, so we need to see that the personnel is part of the team. So I don't think it's one or the other. It's really the full story. Barbara, in the NOFO, I'm not sure which NOFO you are reviewing, but in the NOFO, if you review it as a section, let me make sure I go to the right NOFO. Anybody know which section where we specifically ask what should be in the, anybody know which block? Section that goes to what should be in the project narrative. Yeah, in under section part 4, application and submission, under B, content and form application, it details what is included in field 8, the project narrative. There's a list of information. So depending on which NOFO you're applying to, that is outlined there, what is required for the 10 pages. So Barbara, please go into the exact NOFO you're applying to, go to section, I keep saying section, but part 4, application and submission, under B, and you'll see a section that says field 8, project narrative, and it outlines what's supposed to be there. No, it's just on ERA, Della. The ERA is just the website. I think you can convert it into a PDF if you print it, but it's not like before where we had a PDF posted. So with the ERA, it's the site that you see. Correct. Other attachment is totally different from the project narrative. I know we had time. Just want to make sure that I acknowledge you all. Thank you for coming. If you have any questions, be free to email. I know some of you guys, we owe you a response, so please email the mailbox. We'll definitely get information regarding the ERA. I'll have 2 on my email that we need to answer. So please email me your question, email the mailbox a question. We'll make sure to get back with you. Thank you again for your time. Thank you to the team. I appreciate y'all. Have a good one. Bye.